do it. This meeting is being live streamed. Got it. And it's loading. So welcome to those on YouTube, whether you're watching right now, the live stream, or if you're catching this recording afterwards. We are about to get started. We have a very special program for all of you this evening. And let me just see. We still have some coming into the waiting room. So with this new format, again, for those who have just entered, it is a meeting. So it's more like if you've done your own personal Zooms with family and things like that, you are able just right from the get-go of this virtual gathering to control your own video and sound. And we are asking that you use that control to keep yourself muted. We will have an opportunity to talk and share as we always do, but that will come a little bit later in the program. And so we are about to get started. And I have lost here it is. Oop, it has been removed, but I believe, okay. So just a reminder, this webinar is being recorded and it's streaming live on YouTube. Welcome everyone. We're very excited to have all of you here. And again, we will be able to have our same check-in as usual a little bit later. So for now, thank you for staying muted. And you can still, as we have in a webinar, you can use the chat to say hello, and you will be using the chat as part of our activity as well. And so for now, I'll turn it over to Allison for our opening remarks.
Hello, everyone. Happy holidays. It is exciting to see everyone here. So glad everyone is here for this program. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about that. And thank you all for being amazing, amazing, amazing volunteers. So thank you for getting us through 2020, 21, and all the previous years. And that is what I'm going to say. And I'm going to turn it over to our board chair, Mark Christoffels, who is here, and then he's going to turn it over to Tessa. So thank you all.
Thanks, Allison. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for allowing me to participate this evening. On behalf of the board, I want to wish you all a happy holiday, and also to thank you all for all the effort and work that you've done in this past year. It's been amazing. I've had the opportunity recently to take some guests to the Rancho. Several of them had never been there before. And as they were walked through, the volunteers that were on site were amazing, shared their knowledge of the Rancho. And I tell you, you won them over. The guests were just amazed and said they were committed. And unfortunately, some don't live in the area, but had they, I think they would have either volunteered themselves or signed up to contribute funding. So you guys are doing an amazing job. And I have to also say to Marie and all of your garden volunteers, I have an older daughter named Kelsey. Marie knows her because she actually entered here many years ago. And she happened to be here last week, and I took her to the Rancho. She hadn't been there in many, many years. And the very first thing she said, you guys, as she walked around the garden was, "This place looks amazing." And she went on and on about all the hard work that was apparent that you and your gardening staff had done. So again, thank you on behalf of myself and the board for all you do. And I hope you have a great and joyous holiday. You all deserve it. And with that, I guess I turn it over to Tessa.
Thank you, Mark. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Wonderful to see everyone again. For those of us that were at the Rancho on Sunday, some of us in modern clothes and others in historic apparel. It's wonderful to see you all again. As everyone is well aware, December is a very busy time for the Rancho with holiday programming, like our holiday tours that we just had, and then also with year-end fundraising. So I did want to give you just a brief update on what has been happening with year-end fundraising. So During this month, we always send out our year-end appeal. This is one of our most important requests for support throughout the whole year. In 2020, we had to reduce our expectations and we had lowered our budget for this year-end appeal. So our budgeted amount was to try to raise $15,000 in 2020 and 21. This is typically an appeal that can raise $50,000 or $60,000. So it was a significant reduction, but that's what we were expecting through COVID. So we sent out our appeal to close to 800 individuals. You'll also receive it before the end of the year electronically in all of your inboxes. It's a great opportunity to share sort of what we've accomplished in the last year. This one in particular highlighted that we are serving now nearly 40,000 people annually, which is incredible. That's a larger number than pre-COVID. It talked about our virtual programming. The Rancho was very quick to transfer our in-person programming to virtual, like this program right now. We talked about our community partnerships. So we felt it was really important to support other nonprofits in Long Beach. And so we opened our doors to dozens and dozens of organizations. The two that are highlighted in the annual appeal were the Women's Shelter of Long Beach, who used the Rancho site, and the New Hope Community Grief Support Groups. They were both able to continue their programming because the Rancho's historic gardens were a safe, open outdoor space for them to gather at a time when no one else could gather. And then finally, we highlighted that we have been open and serving the public continuously since June of 2020, which is pretty remarkable considering the ups and downs that so many have gone through in the last year and a half. So I'm very pleased to report that so far, and it's only the 21st, we've raised $25,000 through the annual appeal, which is very, very exciting. If you're still considering making a year-end gift to a charitable organization, you're welcome to reach out to me and I can help you do that to the Rancho, or we have our online web page as well to make gifts if you're looking for charitable giving options in the final 10 days of the year. And then I'll be happy to report sort of what happens with this appeal at our next volunteer gathering in January. But we are just so pleased that we've received so much incredible support. And actually, I'm looking at so many faces and so many of you have already sent in a year-end gift. So thank you very much for already being so responsive and for all your hard work throughout the whole year. And then for those of us who worked side by side on Sunday, thank you. It's been just wonderful. And then a special thanks to the Port of Long Beach, who has sponsored all of these December holiday programs, including this one. Happy to answer any questions offline. I will turn it over to Alana.
Hello, everyone. So our announcements now have concluded and we're moving into our activity for this evening, which is going to be an interactive mystery adventure. And so I will, once we start, I'll share my screen and I will be the storyteller. And then I will be asking you all who are part of this meeting to use the chat. We'll be searching around the Rancho for clues, so I'll prompt you. And then we will also be doing breakout rooms at one point, which will be a little bit new, but we'll explain it a little more as it's happening. But you'll be working in a smaller group with some clues a little more closely. And before we begin, I do want to say, you probably would figure this out, but although the setting of this mystery adventure is a real place because it takes place at Rancho Los Cerritos, the people and events are fictional, and any relation to any real people or events is purely unintentional. So with that, I think we're ready to get started. So I am going to share the screen. And if you have questions, you can put those in the chat as well. And we will get started. So to set the scene, the year is 1955. The city of Long Beach has just gotten ownership of Rancho Los Cerritos and are looking to open it to the public as a museum. They haven't hired a curator yet, but to get the work started, they found an interim person to be able to get the museum ready until the new curator can be hired. And so they hire this man, Howard Stewart, and he comes highly recommended. He has a lot of experience at other museums across the country, and he does a lot of work. He gets the museum up and running, and it opens to the public in 1955. Tragically, Howard is soon found dead in his office. And because the rancho is owned by the city, even though foul play isn't necessarily suspected, a full investigation is done just to make sure all of those I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So Detective Alan Reed comes on site, and he is part of that investigation. The coroner does find that Howard died of natural causes, but in the course of that investigation, they discovered Howard Stewart was not actually Howard Stewart. His real name was Herbert Simmons, and he was in fact a wanted criminal who was suspected of having stolen these set of jewelry and this jewel collection from the Met in New York. Now, with this new information, a more high-profile nature of the case, and the fact that it's now crossed state lines, the FBI is being called in to head up the investigation. However, there is a snowstorm over Washington, D.C. Flights are grounded, cars can't drive, so it's unclear when the FBI is going to arrive. And Detective Reed would really like to get this case solved before Christmas so he can spend the holiday with his family. So he begins to look back over everything that was found in the original investigation, and he finds this clue, he believes to be a clue. There was an associate of Herbert Simmons named Mark Howell, who is in prison currently, and they know that he was part of this jewel heist, but they also know he had a partner, and they never found the jewels. And so Herbert was suspected of having been the accomplice, but he had never been seen nor heard from again until now. So Detective Reed sees this note for Mark, suspects that is Mark Howell. And so he is sure that this is a clue to find the missing jewels, but he can't solve it. And he also suspects that Herbert hid clues around the museum while he was working there and getting it set up. And so he wants to find all of these clues around the rancho, but doesn't know the site well enough to know what will be out of place. And so he has turned to you, the trusty volunteers who know the site better than anyone, for some help. So we will begin our adventure. Where would you like to begin? And you can put it into the chat. One of the work wing rooms up through the blacksmith shop. We can go to the foreman's room, the laundry room, the furniture store room, the food store room, or the blacksmith shop. Where shall we go first? We'll give it a moment for some more votes to come in.
I think the foreman's room is winning, Alana.
All right, we will head first to the foreman's room. Now here we are, and again, I will ask you to use the chat. Tell me, what would you like to investigate, or where would you like to look inside the foreman's room? We're looking for something that might be out of place, unexpected, anything that has drawn your attention here. So we have the book. So first you look at this ledger over here. This appears to be in line with the exhibit space. It's a ledger from the 1840s. It's got notes about business. So that seems to be in line. You check under the bed, you find the trundle and the chamber pot, but no clues there. And then you notice this book on the table that you don't remember being there before. And so you pick that up and open it. And inside is a slip of paper with these strange markings on it. And you think this probably could be a clue. This does not seem like an 1840s cattle ranching note. And so you put this in your pocket, you save it for later. As we go around the Rancho, you'll collect all of these clues. And then at the end, we will look at them more closely once we have all of them. And so next we will be going to the food storage room. So here we are. And again, I will ask you, where would you like to check in the food storage room? Lots of little nooks and crannies and containers in here. So type into the chat where you would like to look. So you check the butter churns. First, you check these older butter churns that are on the far wall, the older style. Those are all empty. There's some dust and cobwebs in there, but no clues. And you check also, just out of frame of this shot are some of the, what to the Victorian people were more modern butter churns with a hand crank. And those are also empty. But you also look inside this coffee bag. It's a big container. Seems like it could hold some clues. There are some coffee beans in there, but you don't see anything else. You also notice this big clay urn and you peek inside. And again, there doesn't seem to be anything in there. And you check on the drying rack along with these peppers and onions. There are some bags. So you check those out and don't notice anything in there. It all seems to be these foods that would have been here in the 19th century. You also check out some of these tools, the cherry pitter, any of the tools of the with the butchery business, and open up some of those meat grinders and things, and you don't see anything in there. Any other spots to check? There's under the cheese. So you lift up the cheese, and between these two pieces of cheese, you find another slip of paper, which again appears to have an encoded message in it. And so again, we'll tuck this away, save it right, or save it for later until we have all of our clues together. And next we will go to the blacksmith shop. Again, lots of nooks and crannies and spots to explore here. So where would you like to check first here in the blacksmith shop? We have the slag water is this bucket next to the forge, and it's not actually real water. So you just find that sort of metal on top. Doesn't seem to be a way to get it out. So no clues there. You very gently pump the bellows, knowing it's delicate, and no clues kind of puff out. You look at it closely and don't see anything in the bellows either. You check kind of between and behind all of these pieces of lumber that are here, but you just find more wood, which seems like that is there on purpose. It's not out of place. Looking into the miner's pan on the workbench, nothing in there. You open the big cabinet, seems promising, but it looks like there's a lot of tools and metal pieces which seem to be in line with the exhibit space. And you examine the forge a little more closely, even move some of the coals around, but there doesn't really seem to be anything out of place there either. And you check inside the lantern. You turn it all around to see if there might be clues tucked up inside or underneath, but don't see anything there. And look under the boxes that are under the work table and don't see anything there either. And then you notice that there's this piece of artwork on the wall, maybe a postcard or something. So you pick that up and turn it around, and you find another slip of paper with a note on it, a note to self. Roy G. Biv is a very helpful consultant. This does not seem like it fits the blacksmith theme. So you think this probably is another clue. And so you save it for later and move into the furniture storeroom. This one, actually, no one voted for the furniture storeroom to go there first, but I think Megan's right. It's worth to check out. And the laundry room after this. Thank you, Mallory. We look in the wool bag. It's a very large bag. You look through the top and you sort of poke it from the sides to see if anything seems out of place, but it seems like it still just has a lot of wool in there. And we also, so we have a suggestion. Oh, here are more coming in. So checking now that we found something on the back of a photo, you check the back of this photo, but don't find anything other than the back of the picture frames. You check between the straw mattresses, sort of shake them around to see if anything might dislodge, and don't find anything there. Inside the toy wagon, don't see anything there either. Checking the bottoms of the chairs that are hanging up here, thinking maybe underneath. So you look at all of those and they just appear to be the chairs. Some of the caning is broken, but that again seems like those are just waiting to be repaired in the blacksmith shop. And then in the burlap here inside this bucket, you check through all of that and don't find any clues yet. And then you notice there are a lot of trunks here. And so you begin opening them up one by one. The trunk that's over here closest to the window is empty. And then there's a stack of trunks here. So you open them one by one. And finally, in the trunk that's at the very bottom of the stack, you find this box, which does not seem to fit the 1870s, 1880s time period of the rest of the room. The box is locked and it has this these spinning wheels, so a 3-digit code seems like it will open it up. And you try some of the usual ones, 000, 999, none of those open the box. And so we'll save this box for later as well and move to the final work wing room. So here it is, perhaps not as it looked in 1955, but we're using our imagination. So where would you like to look here? There are a lot of irons. So you check maybe the coal iron, you can open that up and peek inside and don't see any clues there. And you begin lifting up the other irons to see if something might be underneath or stuck to the bottom, but you don't find anything there. You go back to the stove and open up the little door where the heating would have been, and there's a lot of dust in there, but no clues that you can see. The wash tub. So you check both of these. The washboard is in here. There's some pieces of fabric, but it seems like those are part of the laundry display, so probably not a clue. And in this other bucket, we have the posser or agitator, but that is in line with the exhibit space. You look closely at the wringer and what's kind of going through the wringer, but all of that seems to be in line with the exhibit as well. The basket with the tea, which is in this, the far end of this shelf on the side, it's full of linens to accommodate the tea set, but you don't see any other clues in there. In the stove's vent, so you look through this whole tube and you don't find any clues in there either. And then you start looking at the bottles that are over on the side that were used to help make steam for the laundry. And in one of the bottles, you notice, you don't think it's just dust. It looks like there's something in there. So you turn it over and dislodge another piece of paper with some more strange markings on it. So this seems again like a clue. This doesn't look like something that would have been used to do the laundry back in Victorian times. And so you tuck this away and keep it for later as well. We've gone through now all of the rooms of the work wing, and so now we'll be ready to move into the main house. So let us know where you would like to go next: the library, the 1870s parlor, the dining room, the child's bedroom, or the master bedroom. All of these are spaces that we still have left to explore. So let us know in the chat which you would like to explore first. Got some different votes coming in. All right, I've seen a lot of library, so we'll head first to the library. And here we are in the library. And again, lots of places to explore. Where would you like to look first in this space? Again, you decide to check behind the painting since that worked once. So you check behind Reverend Hathaway, don't find anything there. Check behind Jotham Bixby as well, don't see anything there. You go to the window seats and check there, lift up the cushions, see if there's anything there, but you don't find any clues. The fireplace seems really promising, so you head over there, look up inside, even open up the flue to see if anything might sort of come down when you do that, but you don't find anything in there other than the pieces of wood that are there as part of the display. You check the radio, which is just on the far left of this picture, and nothing there. Even look under the rug. It's a very big rug, so it takes a few of you working together to check under there. And you don't see anything there. And because this is a branch of the public library, there's lots of books. And so you first start checking books from the Bixby time period. And so you're going through the books and you're noticing some of them seem out of place. And so can someone put into the chat what the theme or the focus of the collection in this library space is, this branch of the Long Beach Public Library? Yes, it's a California history focus, and some of the books do not fit that topic or theme. So you start pulling out the books that don't fit, and you look through all of the books, and you pull out all of the ones that are out of place. And so you find this set of books. And again, they are out of place, they don't fit. They don't mean anything necessarily just yet, but again, just as with our other clues, we'll take these and save them for later. And next, we will go to the 1870s parlor. So here we are in the 1870s parlor. Lots of places, again, to check for clues. So you can put into the chat here, where would you like to search next? The stereoscope. So you look through the stereoscope, look at the little pieces. There's a very nice view of the 1872 photo of the courtyard. You look at some of the other stereograph cards that are around the stereoscope, but they all appear to be more of those 1872 set of photographs. And so those all seem in line with the exhibit. You check the violin case. So again, being very gentle as volunteers, you know that these are all artifacts of our museum space. So gently lifting the violin, looking around, looking inside the case as well, but you don't find any clues there. You check the matchbox on the wall, but there's nothing, nothing very small rolled up in there, and nothing in the clock either. So even opening that up to see some of the inner workings, you don't see anything there. You look through the family photo album with white gloves on to turn the pages, and you see a lot of lovely photographs of the Bixby family, but they all appear to be part of the exhibit, nothing out of place. And then you look under the rug in here, still nothing there. And inside this tiny toy stove, don't find any clues there either. And then you remember that you found something in a bottle. So you check the vases, nothing in there. These are all over on the whatnot on this side. And then you also remember finding something behind a picture. And so you start looking behind these. So we have the series of the lithographs of the voyage of life, nothing behind those. And then you check behind this photo of Abraham Lincoln with his son Tad. You turn that around and you find another paper with what appears to be a clue. And this seems like it might match up with another clue you found earlier. So we'll save this one for later. And we'll go to the master bedroom next. So here we are. We're not moving necessarily in the most efficient space through the house, but here we are upstairs in the master bedroom, and we're gonna start off by checking the chamber pot. So the commode here has a couple pieces. So you lift the lid, don't see anything. There's another piece inside that creates the seat for the commode, which you lift up and still don't find any clues. Even take out the porcelain pot from inside, but sadly, you don't find any clues there. So you check the bed warmer here on the far left and open up that chamber of the bed warmer, but there's nothing inside there. Check under the covers of the bed, lifting up the blanket and everything there. You see the store-bought mattress rather than the straw mattresses that were in the other rooms, but no clues other than that. You check the cradle. So even looking through the blanket that's here and this night dress, and lift up the cushion within the cradle, but don't find any clues there. You check behind the mirrors of the vanity. So this far mirror at the smaller vanity, and then this larger mirror as well. You open up the hair receiver on this vanity, and there's some matted hair in there, but sadly nothing else, no other clues. The thread container drawer. So on top of the sewing machine on the far right is this little caddy that has some different spools of threads and bobbins, and you open up the drawer, but it just has some more thread and ribbon and lace scraps. So that also appears to be part of the exhibit. Right next to it is this Harper's Bazaar periodical. And so you look at that, the Harper's Bazaar is in line with the exhibit because the Bixbys would have subscribed to things like that. But as you're looking through the pages, a paper comes out. Herbie, congratulations on your latest acquisition. It sounds like it will make a brilliant addition to your collection. Give me a ring when you get the chance. You're a real diamond in the rough, and I miss working with you. Signed, Mark. Perhaps a letter from known jewel thief Mark Howell that appears to be addressed to Herbert or Herbie. So might be pretty friendly there. Now we will, Megan has pointed out, we'll tiptoe next door to the child's room so we don't wake the baby who sleeps there during school tours. And here we are next door in the child's bedroom. And again, I invite you to put into the chat where you would like to search inside this room. The eggs that are in the windowsill, because Harry Bixby collected them, you look through all of these, it looks like it's just nests and birds' eggs of different kinds of birds. So that seems to be in line, not out of place. You check the toy wagon up on top of the desk, and it's got the different moving parts and everything, but just appears to be one of the toys. You look through the drawers of the desk, and there are some different kind of papers in there, but they all appear to be in line with the exhibit. You look at the kite, turn it around, see if there might be any things written on it or attached to it, but you don't find anything with the kite. You check this chamber pot too, just to be safe, and still no clues in the chamber pot. And you also go over to the vanity over here and look through the puzzle box that's here. And it has all of the pieces for the puzzle, but no other clues. And then you check the fishing basket that the top of is just visible past the bed. And you look through there, it's got some fishing supplies, but it seems to be part of the exhibit. You check behind these pictures on the wall too, just in case, but no clues there. And then you start looking through the books that are at the desk. So working from the top down, looking through, and mostly they seem like they're in line with the exhibit. But as you're going through McGuffey's reader, you find another letter, and it looks like the same handwriting. And this one reads, "Herbie, my advice to you would be to hold on to your new collection for now. The market will be too hot for a while. Make sure you find a safe space for it, and don't forget where that safe space is. Remember our old system, it served us well. Signed, Mark." So another letter from Mark, possibly known criminal Mark Howell. And next we'll go to the dining room. So here we are back downstairs in the dining room, and we have again, lots of options of places to explore. Where would you like to look first in the dining room? The high chair. You look underneath the seat thinking something might be attached there, but don't find anything. You very gently, again with the white gloves, lift up the baby bottle and the towel that's underneath, but you don't find any clues there. You check behind the curtain here along the back wall, even shake the curtains to see if something might dislodge, but don't see anything there. And then you look through the china cabinet, which is just behind where we're standing now. And it has a lot of different pieces of china, but they all seem to be of the time period. So those seem to be part of the exhibit as well. You check under the dining room table. Maybe there are some clues under there, but don't find anything. Look in the pickle caster, which is over on this sidebar over here, and nothing in there. And check in the china pot on the sideboard as well. Check behind these artworks. So we have these still lifes back here, the hair wreath on this side, and don't find any clues behind those. So you move to the table and look in the tureen and don't see anything inside. You turn it upside down, don't find anything there, and then move to this pitcher that's on the table. There's nothing inside the pitcher, but when you turn it upside down, this piece of paper with these markings is stuck to the bottom. And again, this looks out of place. And so you take it off of the water pitcher and you put it into your little collection of clues to save for later. And now I believe we have done all of the rooms. So we've searched the entire Rancho. We've found all of the clues that were hidden. And so now let's take a moment to go over what we've found. We have these 2 letters to Herbie from Mark. These seem to indicate that this man who died, Herbert Simmons, was in fact partners with Mark Howell. He references, "I miss working with you," so they did work together. It seems like he's alluding to the fact that Herbert has the jewels that were stolen by saying the latest acquisition and making some jewelry puns. Brilliant addition. Give me a ring. You're a real diamond in the rough. And then it also seems like he has given the advice that Herbert not try to sell the jewels yet. It would be too soon, a little too suspicious. So he should hide them away, find a safe space. Don't forget where the safe space is. So both of these letters basically confirm to Detective Reed that this is the man that he thinks it is, and that the jewels will be somewhere here at Rancho Los Cerritos. And then we have now these series of other clues that we found around the site. So we have a couple of these slips of paper with strange markings on them, as well as what appear to possibly be some alphabets with other markings, a locked box, a note, this paper with these images on it, and a set of books. And what we will do now, I will stop sharing for the moment. We are now going to go into breakout rooms. And so in your breakout rooms, you will be able to unmute yourselves if you would like, or you can use the chat, and you'll be in a room with just a few other people, and you'll have a staff member who will share the clue or set of clues that you will be working on. And we will know, we can help you out with it, but you will really be the ones empowered to try to solve the clue. So I just have to make sure that these are all going in the right place. So Megan will move to room 2. Are there any questions about what we've been doing so far? You can put those in the chat. I have Tessa in 1, Megan in 2. Mallory is in 3. This, the wonders of technology. We need someone in room 4.
So as soon as Alana sends us to breakout rooms, we'll have about 3 minutes to solve the part of the clue that we're given. And if you haven't gone to a breakout room before, it is a very similar virtual experience to what happens when at the end of a webinar, we bring everyone up onto the screen. So it will just be a minute until it.
Yeah, so it might look like you're being kicked out of the meeting, but you'll reappear. And we are setting it for it to be, well, it's not letting me you can put 2 minutes. I'll send a reminder when we're going to be closing down those rooms. And so I'm going to move to. All right, so you are about to leave this big meeting and appear in breakout rooms, and then you can get started working on your clue right away. So I'm going to open them now. I'm going to go to room 6. Got it. So welcome back, everyone. I'll just give it a moment. We have some people who are still making their way back to us from the breakout rooms.
Our breakout room rocked.
I had to apologize in advance to my breakout room.
Mine didn't even need any hints. They just were right on it.
Tim had it solved by the time we got into the breakout room. So just
Well, you know what? Power up, Mallory. My breakout room knows how to read Morse code. So woohoo.
All right. So I will close the breakout rooms. Welcome back. Detective Alan Reed was surely right to trust all of you with this mystery. So I'm gonna ask for, I just saw Laura's comment that she was worried it was a dementia screening. No, it's supposed to be fun, Laura. So I'm going to ask breakout room number 1 was, okay, I'm gonna ask Tessa's breakout room. What did you come up with? What did your clues indicate?
So I had, where's breakout group number 1? I had Linda. I had, where are my folks? Joy and Chaim and Marcia were breakout group number 1. And it was poorly coordinated, and I did not lead from the front. And so I started at the end of the word and got wards. And I feel like Joy said she got back.
Read back.
Read
Read
Okay.
back.
Then Allison's group, does that line up with what
I think so.
you were working on the same clue, just so we've got,
So my breakout room had Dale and Linnea, and I'm thinking Ellen was in there. And we got Reed and then backwards.
okay. So those groups are in agreement, read backwards. So if you remember, we did have the original clue, an encoded message was found in the office of the deceased. So this is probably a clue to help decode that. Thank you to rooms 1 and 5. I'll turn next to Megan's group. What did you?
Our room, we had Marie and Fran and Edie and Sue, and I have to let Sue read it because she was a whiz.
Ours was shift the letters.
All right, shift the letters. And then Mallory's group, you were working on the same clue. Are you in agreement? Or did you have any different things that your group came up with?
no, so we had Kim and Jan and Carlos in the room with me, and Kim had it solved before we even got into the room. So kudos to Kim. She's like halfway through the Morse code by the time we got that. But yes, we got the same answer, shift the letters.
All right, shift the letters. And then Laura in room number 4, what did your group come up with?
My group was really quick. I had the Reeses, the Phillips, and who else was in my room? Oh, yes, and Vicky Pard. And they figured out the Roy G. Biv, and the clue was that the alphabet, whatever we're going to read, we're going to shift the letters back to.
All right. And then that is in alignment with my group was Mark Christoffels, not Mark Howell, who is in prison for the jewel heist, Andreina, Aina, and Jessica. And so they're through some nice deduction and logic, they figured out how to open up the box, and they had the same message that was found in there. So I believe that means, let me get back to sharing the screen. to continue the adventure. From current slide. So we had read backwards, shift the letters, and C equals A, J equals H, B equals Z. So I'm going to pull up the original encoded message that Detective Alan Reed believes is going to break this case wide open and lead us to the jewels. So the first clue was read backwards. So now we'll have the letters in the opposite order. So that way we can read it forwards, but the letters are backwards. And then shift the letters so that C equals A, J equals H, and B equals Z. So you're welcome to do this along with me. I'm going to reveal these one at a time, but if you'd like to work on it on your own as well. So I've split it up into words to make it a little bit easier to see. And so the first clue for how to shift is that C equals A. So we've turned the C's into A's. J equals H. And then B equals Z, and there were no B's, so no Z's appear. But using this same pattern of shifting the letters back 2 letters in the alphabet, you continue to go through the code. So D becomes B, G becomes E, P becomes N, V becomes T. So now you have solved the first 2 words beneath the. It seems like it's leading us to the jewels, everyone. So exciting. Y becomes W, Q becomes O, T becomes R, M becomes K beneath the work, W, traur. Moving along, K becomes I, P becomes N, I becomes G beneath the work wing. You might be able to guess this, but we'll go through the letters just in case. R becomes P and F becomes D. Beneath the work wing trap door. Intriguing. What could it mean? Dun, dun, dun. There are multiple trap doors in the work wing, but this one is the most accessible. And so you decide to start here. So you verify there is a trap door here. Don't really see how to open it. There doesn't appear to be a handle or any sort of way to pull it. This looks like it could be a way to grab on, but doesn't really seem like it. But you notice there appears to be light coming up from beneath this trap door. So it does seem like this could be the right place, but you need to find a way to open it. And you think maybe there could be some tools inside this cabinet. So you open it up, but you discover it's mostly empty, only this pot, which seems a little bit out of place, and there might be a rope underneath. So you lift the pot out of the cabinet and you reach in, grab that rope and give it a tug, and you hear the sound of the trapdoor jostling. And this allows you to lift it open to reveal what was beneath. And so you see beneath the trapdoor a ladder leading down into a dark room full of cobwebs. And as you gaze closer, you see a box, perhaps just the right size for some jewels. So you travel down the ladder into this room, and over by one of the boilers, you see the box. And moving closer, you grab the box and you dust it off, open it up, and are delighted to find jewels inside. You have solved the mystery. Huzzah! And Detective Alan Reed is so thankful. He thanks all of you for your help in solving the mystery and finding the jewels. And he is able to solve the case. So by the time the FBI arrives, he can turn that right in and he gets to spend the holidays with his family. So thank you from me, Alana Race, as well as Detective Alan Reed. Thank you all for participating in this adventure, this mystery adventure. And I also want to thank, again, the Port of Long Beach for their generous support of this event and for making this possible to present to you. I'll stop the share. So that trap door is actually a space at the Rancho. And so it's in the room that is newly restored. That's going to be the 1930s bedroom. And that is how you open it. So it's a little bit of an educational piece as well. And to continue the educational piece, I'll turn it over to Megan to tell you about the man who became the first curator after this terrible scandal of jewelry thievery at the Rancho.
A tremendous thank you to Alana for a job really, really well done. Kudos, Alana. I have it on very good authority that our first curator, a fellow named Bill Evans, came just after the city used its librarians to try and figure out what to do with the Rancho, how to run it, how to preserve it, and was perhaps a little overwhelmed. But the first department that Rancho Los Cerritos was under with the city of Long Beach was the library department. Hence, we have a lot of library books as a reference area. But then they hired Bill Evans in the late 1950s, and he was the curator for maybe 7 or 8 years until the mid 1960s. We're incredibly fortunate that he had the fortitude to start writing letters to Anne Bixby Chamberlain, the younger sister of Sarah Bixby Smith, the older sister of Llewellyn Bixby, who remodeled the Rancho. So one wrote Adobe Days, the other remodeled the Rancho in Adobe Days 1925, the Rancho remodel in 1930. They had both passed on by the 1960s when Bill Evans was writing to Anne Bixby Chamberlain. She lived in the upper Midwest at that time. She had a family of her own, but she shared her memories in a series of letters. We're also
Concord, Massachusetts, and she not only had a few children, she had 8 children. And she wrote 13 letters to Bill Evans, who I discovered was a bit of a thief himself. He thought those letters were his. And it was a while after he had left before we were able to get those letters for our museum.
Thank you, Laura, for sharing that. That's fantastic. I'm going to share one other picture that we have from Bill Evans. This is the Rancho's living room, as you can see, with a glorious Christmas tree and some little children who, I have it on good authority, are Bill Evans's children, as well as some different items from either his own family or the Rancho's collections that were already acquired by the early 1960s when this photo appeared in the newspaper and was recently dug out of our archives by one of our staff members. Speaking of Christmas, I wanted to thank the Port of Long Beach for sponsoring our December programs. That includes Storytime, it includes Bilingual Storytime, it includes Creation Station, it includes this program, and the last 2 Sundays, it also included a new program based on an old tradition, which we called After Hours Holiday Tours. You can see the Rancho at night all lit up. Here are some of the characters who were in the rooms. So we have on the right, the large picture is Raul Nario and his family. Upper left is Jean Marquez working on something in the carpentry area of the foreman's room. On the lower left, Kim and Ginger, who were tour guides. And in the lower center, Diana Marquez fixing up a holiday outfit. In fact, that was Mary Bixby's jacket. So she was doing real work on preservation while performing in a program. Here are more of our guides. Upper left are Greg and Nancy. Lower left, oops, I'm repeating myself, are Kim and Ginger. Well, good, because that's two of them. Lower center, the Dermodys and Tom Heaton. Upper right is Linda Midget putting an ornament on a lit up 1930s Christmas tree. And on the bottom right is Linnea Fields. And finally, on the left here, more tour guides, Terry. In the center, Ron and Leslie Reese. And on the right is Sherry Ferris, who introduced the entire program. Just wanted to share that with you and let you know that we are thrilled to have all of you here today. And Laura is now going to ask you to share with us.
Hi, everyone. It's so great to have you. Well, my prompt this week is, has anybody recently had a lovely moment at RLC? And I must say that my lovely moment was when I got to take the picture of all of the people that were in the after hours tour, seeing all of you together, all dressed up, and knowing from the week before how much joy you brought to people. It was just very heartwarming for me. So that's my moment. Would anyone else like to share any of their moments?
I would, Laura.
All right.
My moment has been hanging out with the docents on Wednesdays and Thursdays and talking to them and hearing how amazing they are at their tours and talking to some of the new docents that are being checked out. And it was great to see the energy and the enthusiasm. And wow, what an amazing group of people. So thank you all. And it's been fun talking, even though, you know, we're all freezing out there, but it's fun. So thank you all.
Marie?
Sorry, Megan, didn't mean to bump you there. I have to say that when we decorated, which we do the Monday and Tuesday after Thanksgiving, I had put out an invitation to anybody who wanted and could come to decorate. And we were adding decorations we'd never done before with a lot of exterior work. And it was astounding to me how I could say, okay, we're looking at wreaths for indoors. We're looking for wreaths for the 1870s. Now this is going to be 1930s. And we can't have 1930s looking like 1870s. We have to be restrained. And this is going to be outside, so you cannot put any berries on it. And here are the parameters, go for it. And you've seen what they created. They are an amazing bunch of volunteers. And I'm honored every day to get to work with them. And I think that it is really worth, thank you, Mark, for the compliments on what the gardens look like and the decorations, because it was those volunteers who truly made it that way. So that was my lovely moment.
I was recently wondering whether we should hold story time last Tuesday because it was drizzling. Actually, it was raining rather hard, but then it started drizzling around 10 o'clock and we were really glad that we had the gates open and the benches on the lower veranda, because lo and behold, two different families came in and one had 3 little kids, but 2, maybe 3 years old and 4 years old, and they wouldn't leave at the end of story time. Ginger and I were talking to them and the girls were just so excited about being at the Rancho in the rain. So again, story time is a lot of fun, but story time is apparently rain or shine, because we do have some stalwart, warmly dressed children in rubber boots and hats who will come rain or shine to story time. Right after that, Ginger did her checkout tour, so she was our first new house docent. A fun morning last Tuesday.
Anybody else? Carlos?
Yeah, for me, since I started working at El Rancho in August, I have seen the Adobe home pretty empty. So it was very special to me attend the candlelight event on Sunday and suddenly see all those rooms that I've seen every day, become alive and see all of you, acting and being part of history. It truly was something special. And I brought guests with me, and they're very into history, and they came out complimenting the experience, and they came out with new knowledge. So I can't wait to see, the future events that 2022 will bring all of us, and I'm excited for that. Thanks.
Mark?
I just have to share this story. I had to go to the Rancho to drop off some documents, and it was pretty late in the afternoon. We hadn't quite closed yet, but it was one of those really cold days that we've had recently. And there were huddled underneath the little check-in tent were 3 very dedicated volunteers trying to keep themselves warm, but holding their own, making sure that any guests that did arrive that day would be greeted. And you just, so impressive to watch that, especially on that, what was a very bitterly cold afternoon. It was amazing. You guys are so dedicated.
Reese's? Leslie, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I was in the event that we just had, the candlelight tours. I really got a kick out of interacting with some of the children that came through. It seemed like we had more families and more children this year than we've had in the past. And I was, when the little kids were coming through, I made a little bit bigger deal about the ox cart, and I asked them if they would ride on that ox cart to Los Angeles. And some of the adults were like, oh, that'd be a long trip. And the children, yes, I would go. Anyway, got a kick out of it. And I think the kids enjoyed it too.
Anyone else? Edie?
I got to enjoy the Rancho after hours on this last weekend, and I got to bring my daughter and my husband, and they were both very impressed, and they learned things, and they were impressed with the volunteers and how beautiful everything was. And it was just really, really, pleasant. And it was pleasant for me to accompany them. And I think all of the volunteers were like so special. I mean, perfect. It was really, really wonderful. So that was my good thing for the week, was actually going to the Rancho and not working, just enjoying it.
Anyone else?
I can share what Sandra has shared over on YouTube, in our YouTube comments. Sandra hasn't been able to come in person to the Rancho, but is fondly remembering the first time she saw how beautiful the Rancho was decorated for Christmas, and helping for one of our Santa events. And it was raining, but despite the cold weather, everyone was extremely happy and cheerful. And she says all the staff and volunteers always give it their all to bring everyone together, rain or shine. And so she's hoping to be able to come back in person and experience that again. And we can't wait to have you back in person too, Sandra.
Anyone else? Vicki? No? Yes?
Yeah, I'll say something. Like I did come to the candlelight event, and it's the first time I've come as a visitor since I started volunteering. And I wanted to say that this was a simpler presentation in a way, but I thought it was really effective, and I thought it was very smooth transition from all those different periods that they had to do. You know, that's always a challenge at the Rancho, but I thought they did a really nice job of switching, and it helped, I think, having the different costumes. That was fun, seeing the Mexican, the Victorian, the 1930s, 1920s. I thought that was really great. So for all of you who worked on it, and I know a lot of the people that are here tonight did a great job.
Anyone else? Ina?
So I've been really fortunate. I feel like I've been privileged to get to do story time a few times. It's just so much fun for me, but to watch those little kids listen and then do things like head, shoulders, knees, and toes, and they get really into it. It's just a joy. And it's such a beautiful atmosphere. The whole thing just works so well. So I'm really been thankful for that. Hopefully I'll be back to be able to do it next month.
Great, thank you, Ina. That brings to mind, I think everyone here has received their Christmas present, which is thanks to the Port of Long Beach, except for Ina. So if you can make it to the Rancho anytime soon, we can get you your Christmas present. And I also want to point out that we have a pretty new volunteer with us tonight. If everybody, well, I don't know, for me, she's right next to Alana. Jessica Lopez, a wonderful curatorial volunteer who's working with Carlos on the Raíces. Thanks for coming tonight. I'm so happy to see you. Does anybody else want to share before we wrap things up? Okay, just a reminder that we have undecorating happening on next Tuesday, the 28th. You can let Marie know you're coming, or you can sign up on Volgistics. And our gathering next month, January, will be January 18th. We hope it will be in person, weather and the pandemic permitting. And we have Larry Rich, the director of the Sustainability Department of Long Beach, who's going to be talking about the history of water in Long Beach, which is really apropos with our Looking Back to Advance Forward water recapture program that's going to be breaking ground very soon. And we are going to be busy for the holidays. I think people usually come out with their families. So if anybody that works public hours can find some time in their schedule to be at the Rancho, it would be great. You can see how happy people are to be there, and I could use your help. So thanks all for coming, and I think that's it, folks. Everybody have a Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Thanks for the adventure, Alana.
Okay.
All right. Happy holidays. See you all possibly in the new year.
Marcia, check on your porch. Have you checked on your porch?
I couldn't see, but I went outside to see if my pump came, and I said, what is something here? And no one was supposed to bring anything. No one told me. And then I picked it up and I asked my neighbor to read what it said on it. And she told me it said Rancho Los Cerritos, and I smelled it and I'm going to use it. So thank you. But who is the angel that dropped it there?
That was me.
Well, then thank you again so much.
You're very welcome, Marcia. Enjoy, but not too many at once.
Depends on the sugar level. I might have to eat a lot of them, but they're my favorite. So that's great.
Good.
Bye. Bye, everyone.